to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
Secret how the big business works?
I think we're always appalled when we hear about shit like Boeing, right? Because they have been one of the top manufacturers of aeroplanes, the flying buckets, the tubes in the sky, right? They're one of the leaders in the world. It's just them and Airbus, right? I mean, is there anyone else? So when you hear about this culture that they have that doesn't give a shit about safety, or it's all about cutting costs and deliverables and, oh, well, we don't want to pay Southwest $1 million when we have to do training, so we're just not going to tell them about MCAS. When they do that kind of shit, they're just telling everybody, fuck you, and I don't care about humans. Yeah. It's all about money, which is where, we're in this mode right now. Everything's so expensive. That's exactly how our society feels.
What?
Just the fuck you to people.
Oh, yeah. We don't have... Go ahead.
And I'm just going to briefly say this.
Yeah.
We got a ranting call from my son today.
Oh, okay.
And he wasn't saying anything that was wrong, but he was basically going, why the fuck is everything so expensive? And I just want to buy a house. I want to buy a house and have my thing and like do the American dream, essentially.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I know, I get it.
Right.
And he's like, why is everything so expensive? And then he proceeds to tell us that his State Farm insurance on him and Nicole's vehicles went up 20%, just like that. So State Farm apparently across the board is increasing prices 20%. According to the state insurance commissioner, allowed this to take place.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
And so he's pissed now because now it eats up an extra $100 a month out of both of their budgets.
Do you know if you're...
Oh, I'm sure it has. We haven't checked.
Oh, okay.
And so he had already been looking at different insurance. And I'm like, you do what you got to do to save money.
Right.
Like, I'm not telling you have to stay with State Farm just because we have it.
Right.
And I'm definitely not... I'm not in that... They're not my team, right?
Oh.
Like,
you're
I'm
not
just
beholden to a particular insurance.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm like, to the point also, because now I'm hearing from my father-in-law, he was in the insurance business before he retired, that State Farm is killing off like home insurance.
Okay.
We have all of our insurance through them. I have life insurance through them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they drop us as far as home insurance, we'll just go somewhere else.
I can't. We someone that we had. I think it was Mike, but this was it might be a year and a half or so ago. A year or so. I think he'd asked the same question. He's like, "Hey, did your insurance go up?" Because I think about this time. Him and Angie, try really hard to almost like micromanage, like insurance rates and take advantage of like various agencies, like giving discounts and whatnot. And whatever solution they were with in the moment, whenever this conversation happened, he had noticed like his insurance went up. I want to say about 20%. And he's like, "Hey, did your insurance go up?" Now, I'm kind of like you. I pay the bills.
Yeah. I think our insurance is like auto paid.
Yeah, it's auto pay.
Yeah.
So, that's not probably you should always be probably tracking that so you're not getting taken advantage of.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Venus could. So here's how the conversation went. I said I didn't really know, But I would ask Venus, because Venus generally keeps track of those things. And if she didn't know, she would have a better idea of where to inquire about what that was.
Right.
And if something had gone up or down. So on a walk, maybe a couple days or so later, I'm like, hey, did our insurance go up? And auto insurance go up at any? And I think it was just about the time where I believe Meemaw came in. So it wasn't quite a year ago, because that was about August, late summer. She had said that I think it was going up a little bit, but not quite 20%, but the agent that she had talked to when we were dropping the RV, it may have been the RV. We were dropping the RV, putting Mima on, and between those two things, they had asked what the mileage was on the RS, and it was well under something. So we got a discount, and it kind of made it a wash, if not a little bit less. But had I been a daily driver in the RS, then I would have seen. Now, obviously, we were adding trading a vehicle, and I don't think Meemaw was too much of a discrepancy between the RV. It's not a sports car.
Right.
So it was a wash. But in the end, if everything had been par with probably Mike and Angie's household, we probably would have been paying much. And it would have been not because anyone in my household has had any accidents. We're all good drivers. Piper's a student. No one's gotten tickets that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
If someone's got a ticket in my house, you better fess up.
Yeah.
So safe drivers, no accidents, no real insurance claims due to something that were, shenanigans. So why would ours be going up? Like, and tell me where. You would expect, you would provide me with a good reason as to why 20%.
Right.
I would be frustrated. And at the same time, I think to your son's benefit, son and Nicole, certainly if I were to start paying attention, or you, we're probably in the best environment as far as shopping. Like,
Well, we are able to also utilize USAA.
Through Shan's.
No, through my dad.
Oh,
was in the military.
Oh, okay.
So he got a quote through USAA, and it was a good price.
Data's?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the problem with USAA is that you have to pay like 6 months up front.
Oh.
And then you like half the rest of the year, you're paying like half for 6 months.
Right.
Or you're paying half for the rest of the year, essentially. So then when that year's over, you go to your regular rate, whatever that is. So he had a good deal, but then he was like, man, I just don't see coming up with $650 or whatever it is for the 6 months.
Right.
That's just not an option for me. So he didn't do that.
So he stuck with State
Farm.
So
he stuck with State Farm, and
only to find out.
Yeah. Well, and they have a Tiguan. She has a Tiguan, and they both own their own car. So she owns the Tiguan. He's not on it. They're not married yet. They are living together, right? And then he has the Ford Ranger, and she's not on it. He owns that. So they don't get a multi-car discount according to State Farm's rules because you have to be co-owners in the vehicles or married, right? And they're neither. So they're not getting multi-car discount. So between the two of them for 2 cars, they were just getting bumped up to like 5 something for 2 cars a month.
Oh, wow.
Just for insurance for the 2 of them. And that's why he was losing his shit. He was just like, why do they get to just do that for no reason? Like, nothing has changed. Like, I don't have any tickets. I don't have any accidents. Same with her. Like, and so he called State Farm, and they're like, it is what it is, basically. right? And that's
I'm encouraging you to shop around.
I mean, they're not saying that, but that's
Right.
kind
Read
of
between the lines. This is our policy.
yeah.
Shit or get
I
off
can't
the
do
pot.
anything about it.
Yeah.
And he called us back, and he's like mad.
All right.
And I'm like, look, we've already talked about this. This is how you got into USAA. Like, you don't have to, be on State Farm.
Yeah.
Just because that's what we use. I mean, shit, if they fuck me around, I'll leave,
Well, sure.
And so he called AAA.
Okay.
Which I think you have, right? Don't you have AAA?
Yeah.
For some of your car,
yes.
one of your families uses AAA?
Yes.
Your other family uses
I don't know
nationwide?
what our AAA coverage is for. I think
I thought you said you had car insurance through AAA.
Yes, I think we do. I don't know, because I don't know if that translates to the home stuff.
Oh.
What did we do for I think it was Mima. Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So he called AAA, and he got this cool dude on the phone, and he was just like griping at the guy, and the guy's like laughing, and they're having a decent conversation. And he gives Chandler rates, and they're way cheaper than State Farm. And so he's like,
well, yeah,
fuck yeah, let's
pull
do
the
it.
Trigger.
So then he calls State Farm and says, I need to cancel my policy with you. So then State Farm's calling us to say what is going on, and do you approve because you're the policy holder or whatever.
Okay.
So we didn't take the call because I didn't realize who it was.
Uh-huh.
And so I think Shan's going to call him tomorrow, and say, yeah, you're fucking him around. Like, what the shit?
Yeah. So they're under you on a State Farm policy.
Yeah, I mean we're the
and their rates went up, but you don't know if yours.
I'm sure ours did.
Okay.
We haven't looked.
Right. We're same.
Yeah. And so but I was telling him, like, I don't have a problem with you moving. Go do what you have to do. If it's going to take money out of your monthly budget and it affects you, do whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, when I was 18-ish, I think I got insurance through 20th Century Insurance, which turned into 21st Century Insurance because
I got older, had a birthday.
Because it couldn't be left behind. And it was way cheaper. I think my parents had like Farmers or something. I don't know. And so that was who my policy was through, and it was pricey. But then I ended up getting my own insurance, and it was a little bit cheaper. Just because it was 21st Century Insurance, I assume. It's kind of like Geico or whatever. But, do what you got to do to save money, And, I think that his deductible was like $1,000, I think, at State Farm. And they're even able to drop it down to $500 and get a cheaper rate.
Oh, yeah.
So, but man, like, everything's so damn expensive, and all these companies are just out to gouge everybody.
Yeah.
Like, go to the grocery store and look at the price of Doritos. Like, a bag of Doritos is $6. $6. That thing has gone up in the last 3 years, almost double for a bag of Doritos. And we're at the point, like, at our house, we don't go with a basket and shop for groceries. Right? If we need stuff to make stuff at home, we'll go to the store and buy the things that we need, and we'll try and shop sale prices. Or if it's fucking a jar of mayonnaise is like $6 or $7, literally $6 or $7. It's bonkers for a mayonnaise. That should be like $3.29. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like you just feel at some point like you're just really getting taken advantage of by the world in general.
My dad has and because we're not on PG&E anymore.
Yeah.
My dad has like a running, and it's in California. It's hard to like escape like their holding the bag for some of the fires.
Oh yeah.
For certain the constant lawsuits, loss of life, loss of property, negligence in maintenance,
rulings against them in courts.
Right.
Yeah.
And then to see rate increases, of which my dad, who is on PG&E, rates are up. But then you also see that executives who were in charge of the company during all of these guilty lawsuits, negligence lawsuits, loss of property, loss of life, like all of these things, like something is rotten at the top of that management chain.
Yeah.
And in the courts are being proven guilty for these crimes.
Yeah.
And none of these people are going to prison. None of these people who make these decisions are going to prison. And then in, what was it, like over the winter or it may have been January or February, rates for my dad went up, and right alongside that news of rates going up is executive bonuses, executive pay rates going up. You can't. I have an extremely difficult time trying to justify the news where you tell me as a consumer that there's a supply and demand need for the commodity that I'm taking, that you need to increase rates because of how markets work, which I understand.
Right.
And yet at the same time, on the other side of your mouth, say that profits are so high that you're going to give rewards to the executives who are generating such ludicrous amounts of profitability.
In the time where their company,
where you're telling me that there's a supply, like, okay,
well, no, not just a supply and demand thing, but also in a time where the company has been found to be guilty of all these atrocities.
You can't. Where is all this? You shouldn't know.
Bonuses should be suspended for 10 years.
Absolutely.
Or something.
Or you can get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many things.
I'm sorry, all the fucking people in paradise that fucking died.
Right.
But you're getting a fucking bonus.
But you got a bonus? Well, it's okay because we settled that lawsuits and all those people are getting paid. People lost homes. People lost lives. People lost family members, pets, ways of life. As an American, I want and I encourage capitalism to work. I want supply and demand. I want pull up by the bootstraps and create a widget, and and to be able to survive and get to the top through ingenuity or your smarts or just putting in hard work and
and in fucking integrity.
Right. A strong moral compass.
Yeah.
And I get that. No, I don't. I don't get it. Because as a dad and as a husband and as a friend and as someone that has been in a small business and as someone who is aware of how small businesses work, I have always leveraged my moral integrity to be the best business person without trying to fuck over the consumer that is taking from, that is coming to me for my wares.
That is paying your way.
There is, it seems like there is a stratus of either I'm not beholden to that thing. There's no regulation stopping me from doing that thing. And since it's my business that's doing it, it's not me, it's my business, then I'm afforded this loophole.
But isn't a business in the United States treated as a person?
Well, fuck you, Jim.
No, aren't they?
Right? It's the it's hard. I don't know how to square the circle because it seems like if you get to a certain point, it's just the way of the way. And if you can find a way to take advantage of something until someone notices or someone is burdened or it generates a hardship and they close the loophole, ride that fucker until someone finds it.
But I mean, at the same time, like, the government shouldn't have to be coming in and stepping in and saying you can't do that.
They shouldn't, but clearly, and some of us may or may not work for a company sitting at this table that has, like, I have seen.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
The subprime loan thing.
But that is a regulated business in general, right? That is a federally regulated business.
Up until a point, right? Yeah. Subprime loans.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Right? All those things. I'm not talking about the extra accounts. I cannot confirm.
I think I have 3 or 4 accounts.
Yeah, cannot
Thanks for opening those for me.
an employment with that kind of affiliation.
Right.
But what was that? The early aughts, early aughts is what that was. The ability as a lender to, and this isn't necessarily even subprime, the ability for a lender, a real estate lender, to have in their pocket an assessor to hit I need this home to assess at this value. So that way, and the whole house flipping thing.
Yeah.
Until there was no. Assessors have to be agnostic of the real estate lender entirely. Well, until that was a thing, it was like, well,
we just get John to do it.
Yeah. Hey, well, what do you need me to hit?
Yeah.
$395. Okay. All right. I'll submit the papers tomorrow.
We can approve that guy, sure.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah. No worries.
And then you get the subprime things until such a point, and regulations, and like, well, how do you, until you realize, or someone gets hosed, 401ks, because of how junk bonds are repurposed together. Well, it's all money. It's fucking digital. You can't. Yeah. Is there a rule preventing me from doing that? No. Well, then why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But it's easy money. Where'd the moral compass go? Well,
it's about money.
It's about money. I'm getting mine until you tell me it can't be done, or you create it as there's a law that says, oh, that's a no-no.
Oh, that's fucked up. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's a no-no. Like, it hurts me in the heart place.
It's just amazing where we are, because America sort of has this the illusion of the American dream is that you will be better off than your parents, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that illusion started from the greatest generation that came back from World War II and had babies, and the boomers that followed, and they did well because there was so much growth going on in the country at the time. And then, so those are our parents. And things just don't operate that way anymore, especially in the digital world. It's just so different.
Yeah.
And everyone's just out for themselves. Rent, people that charge these absorbent or astronomical amounts for rents and stuff.
Yeah.
I was reading that Austin, Texas is having trouble. They have, I think, way too much home inventory. And all of their home prices and their rent prices have fallen.
Right.
And there was somebody who, part of the article was talking about somebody who had an offer from a apartment complex or something to move into their apartment complex, and the apartment complex was gonna give them a $1,500 like move-in bonus.
Oh wow!
To move into this apartment, and they chose instead to move into a nice glass high-rise downtown because the price was low enough that they could now get this piece of property where they couldn't before. Instead of taking a $1,500 like move-in bonus.
We just had a conversation allegedly. Oh, someone was talking about how why some of these some tech companies have like data centers in like Oklahoma and like Power Crunch, Texas.
Right.
Like what? That doesn't really like why. And then you get some of these companies that are also doing return to office policies in the same locations. Like, where is this all coming from? And a lot of people aren't aware that a lot of these cities and states are giving huge tax breaks.
Oh yeah.
To the companies, like, we'll give you a huge tax break if you put your facility here. And part of that contract is that you also put people here.
Right.
So, why are we putting people in Austin and Dallas, Texas all of a sudden? Like, that's never been a financial hub for any particular reason. Why are we putting a data center there when we have all these other hubs that are currently functioning as well-purposed data centers? Well, Texas wrote a big-ass check for tax breaks for a big-ass corporation, and part of those contracts are not only the tax breaks, but that said corporation will put humans in these locations.
Because you need the sales tax and all the other shit.
Which will bolster rents and property and, restaurants and like all of the trickle-down stuff of putting humans in the state.
Yeah.
And it's like, this isn't necessarily being done for the purpose of business resiliency. It's being done because of money. Yeah. It's being done. There's a huge ass thing going on in Virginia right now where multiple big corporations are putting in data centers in Virginia, and they just flat out don't have the power. Because Virginia's writing checks.
So they're browning out?
Yeah. Amazon just put one in. There's a high-profile financial institution that's putting a data center in there.
I wonder who that is.
And they're out of power.
Oh, my God.
And they are pushing out power increase rates because now there's a supply and demand problem to the residents.
That's great for everybody
in the area.
That's awesome.
Like they're right?
Yeah, that's great.
And the bottom line is there's still no power for the data centers.
Yeah,
they're fucking out of power.
They got to throw a quick nuclear generation.
Right. So there's a building there, and someone's getting tax breaks for housing and putting a data center there, but you can't put any fucking servers in it.
It's got one rack of servers in it.
Yeah, if there's a couple fucking pizza boxes and some 486 DX266.
There's a couple people that know what that is.
Yeah, the 386 SX. There's no math coprocessor.
Probably 2 or 3 of the people that listen to this show.
Grant knows exactly what I'm talking about. He knows. Yeah, no math coprocessor. It's not even the DX. It's so frustrating. And I had just had this talk. Today's Wednesday. Monday. I went to gym Monday, and I just started a running program. So I got back, and I went straight out on a run. I got back in the house. I'm like in a runner's high kind of thing. And I came in the house. Everything's fucking on fire. Xander's sitting on the couch, and I went, Xander, I'm having a dad moment. I need to talk to you about something. And I had taken a picture because I just also had my...
now, what do you mean everything's on fire?
My legs.
Oh, okay.
My lungs are on fire.
Yeah.
I just taken it. I had like this is how your yearly goals are for the first quarter year personal review and whatnot. Like, these are things we need to hit metrics, and this is where you're at. And I'd taken a picture of my efficiency, effectively, like my effort percentage. I'd taken a picture of it because I meant to have a conversation with both the kids. And I'm breathing, hyperventilating, to put it mildly.
Okay.
I'm like, Xander, I got a couple things. First thing, I can't remember what the first thing was. Oh, we had left for the gym, but he had just finished his homework, and Venus and I had left. We're going to the gym. We'll be right back. So the first thing I said, it's a standing order that if I'm going to the gym and you want to go, just say, I need a minute. I want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And anytime I go, you're welcome to go. I'll take you. You don't have to do what I do, but if you want to go, it's standing order. We left, and I didn't really give him a moment to be like, oh, well, I'll go. I'll give you 5 minutes, change your clothes, get in the fucking car, and let's go.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I apologize that we left and just said, because if you wanted to go, we didn't give you an opportunity to say I wanted to go. I said, the second thing is, I said, your mom and I aren't blessed with any kind of genetics that's going to afford you some sort of sports scholarship. I said, so the best thing that I have to give to you is intellect and advice on the things that I've done, and your mom is the same way, like life stuff.
Yeah.
So you can be smart. That's the genetic gift. Obviously, it's not lingo that we give to you. Is my advice on how to be a good person and deal with life things. I said, success is not a static target. Success will always be moving. Life will throw curveballs at you, and you need to be able to adjust to what success means at any given moment. And I said, people will always, from the outside, try to judge what you think success is or what they think success is for you. So what needs to be important is that you understand how you want to succeed, and perfect and perfection is not a goal. Better is, because no one's ever going to be perfect.
Right.
And I want to be perfect, and that's perfection. I said it's going to be better. It's going to be better for you to think and to strive for doing better, being better. I said there is the running anecdote and trope that you go to work or you do a thing, you do 110%. You give 110%, like always. I said, so I pull up my phone, I'm flipping through a thing, and I said, I don't want to bullshit you, right? I don't want to bullshit you and tell you, golly, son, I need you to put out 110% because it'll pay off and blah, blah, blah. I said, so I had my review. Is my boss ever here? No. So no one is ever watching me to make sure that I'm working hard. I have to work hard because that's the kind of effort I do. I said, so pull up the picture. I said, I took this picture of how well I perform at work. What's that number there? And he said, 125. And I said, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know.
It's arbitrary.
I said, that's how efficient I am to all of the metrics that are afforded to my employer.
Out of what?
0 to 1.
Is that a percentage?
Yeah, it was a percentage. It was
damn.
125%. I said, this means I am 125% efficient. I put out 125% effort.
That's 15% more than you need to.
It's at least 7. Or whatever's in a power drink or a protein drink. That's 32 ounces.
See, that's what it is. It's all the fucking Red Bull.
Yeah.
You just get all hopped up and you're like, yeah.
I said, the takeaway here is there are things that will always be coming at you. You have to bust your ass. When no one is looking, bust your ass. When the lights are off and it's just you, bust your ass.
What's the thing when you say if you do the right thing when no one's looking, that's integrity.
Yeah, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it too. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mike, I have no doubts that both of my kids will and are great people. We're working on, Piper's, both of them are students. So the work ethic part is, Piper does work. She, part-time at the school. So, but a full-time job isn't not something either of them are doing, obviously, right now. They're both students. So the work ethic and the busting of an ass is something that we have an expectation is put into school.
Yeah.
Like, you may not get an A, you may not get a B, but if you bust your ass in an attempt to do better, that ethos will carry over into everything.
Yeah.
You may not succeed at being an accountant, and your passion may be art, and that's fine, but you need to always be trying to do better.
Yeah.
Something I think gets lost at these big corporation executive levels, where it becomes less about building a better business with better employees and just better profits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard for me to digest, because I would expect that if all of these people came and had great parents or great family or great friends that helped them, great, teachers, that building a better business with the best employees possible will get you profits without compromising morality
Or integrity.
Yeah. And it becomes hard to have those conversations with your kids.
Yeah.
We're like, sometimes, or maybe more than sometimes, that's not how it works. And that's hard as a parent to swallow, because it's like, sometimes you're just going to flat out get fucked. No matter how hard you work, you're just going to get hosed.
Chandler started working at Bay, right? And so he wants to be self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
That's his goal.
Sure.
But what I haven't been able to make him understand is, because he wants to make more money. Well,
Yeah.
But you got hired on as a new guy, like with no experience doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to be expected to get paid like you've been there for 15 years.
Sure.
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
And even if you've been there for 3 or 4 years, you're going to get bumps in pay.
Sure.
If you're putting in your effort.
Right.
But you're never going to get like oh shit. we meant to give you $35,000 extra a year. You're not going to get that.
No.
That just doesn't happen. It takes time for you to get where you want to go.
Sure.
Now, aside from maybe like moving to a different company and getting some different pay grade.
Sure.
There are
right.
Yeah.
If there are options in shopping your existing talent and someone wants to pay more, well then, it is what it is.
Yeah. But you're not going to get it right out of the gate. You got to prove yourself.
Sure.
And especially in the kind of his position in the trades is sort of what they call it, right? You don't just come in and get the pay.
Right.
You got to
I'm a good guy.
Yeah. You got to prove that you can do the work.
Sure.
And do that over time.
Right. Or over deliver in such a fashion that you're either getting pay raises and promotions,
right,
in job titles,
right,
that just elevates you to a position with more pay.
Sure.
So, but the casual attrition of year over year in the same position, like, you're right.
Yeah.
No one's going to be like, you know what? You come in, you do your titled "Work Hard" and with success, and you've been here a year. Here's 10 extra grand.
Right.
Like no.
Right.
No.
No, I applaud his wanting and his desire and his work. He definitely works hard, from what I understand. I applaud all that. Great. That's perfect. That's what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes time. It takes time to like get that stuff.
Right.
You don't just, it doesn't come out of the gate.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you should always. So there's certainly like a line, right? Your employer, certainly a bigger business, is never going to offer up, escalations.
Sure.
Without probably a negotiation or a proof that, hey, I am the
shit.
If you want to ring a bell and right.
Yeah.
And here's why I'm the shit.
Yeah.
I have done this. Like, this is what you expect of me.
Yeah.
This is what I have done without costing you extra money. Like I'm 125% efficient.
Yeah.
And that is saving you money. I would like to talk to you about getting more pay because clearly I am this kind of efficient.
Right.
Right. If you can prove, then perhaps somewhere in between you can outpace the typical.
Right.
But that's going to take initiative on your part, not an expectation on your part.
Now, I'm just wondering how much of that 125% efficiency of yours was due in part to the protein shake?
Hey, I mean, I didn't miss a beat. Did not miss a beat.
I mean, anyway.
Shit.
Thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So we got Millie's car back to her.
Did you?
Yeah. She came home over the weekend. It was awesome. She drove herself.
I want to say, how did that work? Did she drive up and then drive back on her own? Fuck
yes, sir.
Good for her.
I know. I was excited to see that happen.
Did you have a little ticker tape parade as she drove off in her practically new engine bay?
I mean, no. But I spent some time on her car because it had this hatchback. Did I talk about this? The hatchback rattle?
Yeah.
And so I had bought a bunch of the little plastic.
Fasteners.
Yeah. And so I peeled off the inside and replaced every single one of those little clips in there.
Right.
And put it all back together. And it was, from that standpoint, it was nice and solid.
Mm-hmm.
But the rattle was still there.
Right.
And so I was like, where is it coming from? If it's not coming from this back plastic piece, where is it coming from? And I realized it's the license plate.
Right. So did she know that that's where it was?
No. And I didn't tell her I fixed the rattle.
Okay.
Shanna didn't mention it to her. And I was like, let's just give her the car and see if she notices.
Okay, there you go.
She hasn't noticed.
Oh.
Sad dad.
Sad dad.
I was like, motherfucker. I sent her a text yesterday. How's it going with the Sub? You know?
Uh-huh.
She's like, it's going great.
Was it any quieter? A little smoother?
I'm not going to say that.
Smoother ride?
No, I'm not going to say that.
It's like there's
I want her to notice.
Yeah, there's a rattle from the left front. And you're like, fucking no,
well, the only reason why you can hear that is because the rear's not rattling anymore.
Because I fucking fixed it.
I mean, you could literally just like back out of the driveway at our house and like do the left turn and go down our street, and it would just, from the back, and you're like, what the fuck? And so Shan, I fixed it, and then Shan drove it to work, and I was like, how's the rattle? And she was like, non-existent. And I was like, perfect.
Fucking A.
So I was happy to see that, but also just fucking notice.
Yeah, come on, sweetheart.
Maybe because she was driving Shanna's car for several weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, she knew it was there.
Is Shan happy to get her car back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got our cars back again.
You're back to 2 cars, fully functional.
And I kept checking the coolant level. Stayed the same the whole time. Never dipped.
In the Subi?
Mm-hmm.
Or her Subi?
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
It's not eating coolant anymore.
Good job, Subi West.
Yeah, Subi West. Yeah.
Nailed it.
Very happy with that. So, but I just thought that was funny that she hasn't noticed. So now it's just a waiting game. How long before she realizes that she hasn't heard the rear end sound like it was going to fall apart? And what did I tell you what I did, or did I talk about this?
Last week
on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. Yes, because you talked about the fasteners and the steel tape, foam tape.
Okay. I couldn't remember if I talked about it or not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're an old man. Things happen. It's like between that and the lost thumbs in your anus.
And I had jury duty today. So that
came out of nowhere.
No, it didn't.
I feel like you've had jury duty like 2-3 times, and I've had it once.
Well, here's what happened with the jury duty. I got jury duty months and months and months ago, last summer or something.
Yeah.
And it was at a point where my car hadn't really been fixed, but it had been given back to me, and I wasn't.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't know it wasn't fixed, and so I had literally jury duty day. Get in the car to drive to Auburn to go to jury duty, and as I'm driving down the street, the check engine light came on as I was driving down my street to leave the neighborhood, and I went fuck. So then I turned around and then I called the court, and I was like, I'm supposed to be there for jury duty today. Yeah. And my check engine light came on. They're probably like, yeah, right.
Oh, of course it did.
Yeah. And she's like, well, then you're be a no-show. It's no big deal. And we'll send you another thing. So I got another one, and I was in Portland for that one. And then I got another one, and it was like at a point when I didn't have a car, so I couldn't go.
Okay.
And even if you call them and tell them, like, I don't have a car to drive 25 miles up to the friggin' courthouse. Like, maybe if it was the one down the street from my house, I might be able to get somebody to give me a ride.
Yeah.
But guess what? You want me to go all the way up to the courthouse?
I can bike over to Santucci.
Yeah.
Fucker.
Literally. So, of course, I don't ever get to go to the one new courthouse down the street. They always want me to go to the old historic courthouse in Auburn. So, that's what where I had to go today. And then I just told him that I was going to be moving Melly back to Portland because it's about the time when she was going to be moving back.
Sure. Yeah. It's move adjacent.
Yeah. And they were like, okay, well, you can postpone then. And I was like, damn it. Can I just get dismissed?
Can you just tell me I'm not needed?
Yeah.
So what part of that process don't you like?
It's very stressful, like not knowing what your fate will be. And how much time
you as a jury?
Okay. I have been like, called several times for jury duty over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And one time I was at the courthouse in Roseville, where the library is, like near downtown, near Vernon. That library.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There used to be a courthouse across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point where I got called and I was put on the jury.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got bumped off the jury to be an alternate. And I was like, well, this is even fucking more bullshit. Like, now I'm mad I'm not actually on the jury because you have no say to be an alternate. You're just filling in for somebody in case someone dies or whatever.
Right.
So then I was an alternate, and they was getting close to being done. And
right side, left side.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. And someone else came into the jury box and they bumped me out of the alternate. So I just got lucky.
Oh, okay.
So there's been a couple of those moments where I almost had to serve, but got bumped out.
Mm-hmm.
But what's sketchy to me is like how much. I mean, I'm okay with sitting on a jury. I think I'm okay with that. But the unknown of like, am I going to be here for 3 weeks?
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's what stresses me out. I don't want to take PTO to say some fucking idiot's guilty for something.
You don't. That's paid for. Your employer has to cover that.
You only get like 3 days or something, I think of.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, they don't have to pay you for jury duty time. I don't believe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But I believe AJA pays for 3 or 4 days or something like that. So not even a full week.
Now we have to ask.
Yeah.
Because what if it's longer?
I guess I have to take vacation time or something.
You can't be or they compensate you.
But they don't pay very much. It's only like
they can't
$15 or $20 a day or something.
You can't be expected to use your own PTO if you are serving a civic duty. That would be...
They don't care.
Interesting.
That's why the whole, you get called in and, the excuses, they don't even really allow you to have an excuse. The only excuses they really allow for is calendar type. Like, here's where the trial's going to be. Do you have something scheduled? And I have had another one where I actually had a trip to Disneyland playing with the family. So it was like, yeah, we're actually going out of town that day, and they just dismissed me. This wasn't a dismissal. This was just, we'll postpone
your participation.
Yeah. So you'll be back in the summer.
You'll be a candidate again.
Yeah. So, but it's just kind of stressful because you don't know. You're like putting your fate into other people's hands, and you have no idea what. I'd love to say I was all full of piss and vinegar and just go, it's that if I'm here, then he's guilty. Some bullshit like that. And then be like, okay, you're gone. And that, I'm just not that kind of person. Really.
I don't like white people. Sir.
You are white.
Are you aware you're Caucasian? Don't call me that.
Who you calling you people?
Yeah, I don't want to be identified with them Caucasians. Sir.
I identify as penguin, thank you.
Hey. What? What? That's the language of my people. No, that's sir.
Yeah, so it's just I don't know. Have you ever been or served on a jury?
No.
You ever gotten close?
Yes.
Yeah, it's sketchy.
Like to the point where I heard I'm going to say opening arguments, but there was. I wonder how far that was to the actual. So we were picked, and the prosecution and defense were both in the room, and the client.
Yeah.
And it was we'll adjourn to begin the process. You're cleared for a.
So you were picked to be on the jury.
Yes.
Okay.
But alternate.
Oh, that sucks.
Okay, so we were all in the room. So the jury was selected, but no, we weren't sitting in the box.
Okay.
And we were kind of just in that, not quite before and it was, all right, everyone has been selected. We'll adjourn for a break and then come back and you'll hear the case. That's what it was. And then
they came to a settlement or something.
Right. And this was up in Nevada City at the time. So I walked out of the courthouse and kind of just well, no, what do I was,
12,
18, 19. It's kind of, all right, what do I do now? Yeah. And I just kind of sat there and just watched the time and went back in after 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And the guy was standing there with the vouchers, it's okay with, case dismissed. And I went, oh, okay. All right. And
so they must have come to some.
That was as close. And not, I said, at this point, I was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
And that was the closest I've ever been.
Okay. Shan did sit on a jury one time.
Did she?
Yeah. It was a guy in Auburn who was driving through the McDonald's drive-thru with his junk out.
Oh.
And they convicted the shit out of that guy.
Well, they didn't catch me.
Shan said it was funny because she heard every term you could ever use for the word penis that wasn't the word penis. Every single term was used in the courtroom, and she thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then they invite you back as a jury, as a jury person. They invite you back for the sentencing. And she's all, oh, hell no, I'm not going to the sentencing. I don't want to be a part of that.
So we have Exhibit A here of the defendant's junk. Schlong, Wang, Pecker. I could just see Sean like, oh my God.
Well, they convict the guy, and then you have to go to sentencing and like look him in the eye. I was on your fucking jury, you dumb shit. Like.
Can you prove that this is the defendant's penis? Like, what?
I don't know. I was on the jury.
Yeah. How does that? I don't need to know.
I mean, really, what's kind of surprising is it was McDonald's, who is notorious for having the hottest fucking coffee on the planet Earth, that someone just didn't dump coffee into his lap.
You're like, yeah, how you doing, dickhead?
Oh, look, now you got a hot dog.
Yeah.
See the grill mark from that coffee?
McCafe. McWang.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just like, it's stressful when you just don't know how long if you're going to get picked.
I could see that. I could see.
If it's like a 2-day thing or a 3-day thing, it's probably okay. Maybe 4 days. But like, who knows? It could be a murder trial where they're like looking at all kinds of crazy evidence for a month and a half,
I'm sure we've mentioned this before. In Nevada, when I was working for PC Solutions, we built and set up a network in one of the old Victorian houses in Nevada City that was being rented at the time by the law firm that was defending PG&E.
Oh, wow.
In some fire case. So they've been doing it. They've been fucking off for a long time. And it was interesting as a young person working in computers, like to be surrounded by lawyers but it was really more about, when you see lawyers on TV and lawyers make tons of money.
Right.
It was that thing as a young person to see people just throwing around money. And it's like, I work for a small business computer store, and we're building computers and setting up workstations for these lawyers and paralegals to all work at. And it was like, well, we're short, a network cable. Okay, just go buy some.
Yeah.
Well, the invoice, we don't just bill us later. Go buy it, show up.
Right.
My computer's too slow. Well, this was the quote, and that's how it was built. I need more hard drive space, and I need to. What's the fastest one you guys have? Well, with the Pentium ones, you had to build 4 of those.
Wow.
How fast?
Yeah.
I don't know what we have in stock. Well, try and contact the Auburn store.
We need it tomorrow.
Build them tomorrow. Could you have them up here tomorrow? Just bill us. And it was like, fuck, and this is cool.
Wow.
These people are so rich.
Yeah.
No, anyway.
Were they representing PG&E or something?
Yeah, they were representing PG&E.
Oh, wow.
So they were big.
They were getting paid by
yeah, they were getting paid, and then we were getting paid. And
everyone was getting paid.
Oh, yeah. It was like, my mentor at the time was like, where do you want to go for lunch? And I'm like, we could just go to McDonald's and get sandwiches. And he's like, fuck no. Let's go over here to whatever posh place.
We're going to Meridian.
Yeah, something stupid. It's like, sit down, and I'm in a white collar shirt, and everyone else is in suit and ties and shit. And I'm like, I work on computers, BNC cables and Pentium and dicks, dude. It's way over my league.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, we're not paying for it. Like, fucking okay. Well, it was interesting. I didn't see that again until I was in Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
Where contractors will, what is the word? Contractors will. What?
This is what I usually do.
I'm drawing a blank. To like, hey, you want tickets to the Panthers game?
Oh, okay.
Hey, you want, and to grease the wheels of getting service contracts.
Yeah.
To like replace parts or be the parts supplier. they would wine and dine the employees.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, technically I'm not an employee. I'm a contractor too. Hey, you guys want some pizza? I'm like, fucking, of course I want some pizza.
Yeah. I've had some of that, but there's many times where I felt like, oh man, this is not my.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
One time, the company I worked for in Newcastle made software, and we sold that software to Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And Sony had the Sony Spressa USB drives back in the day, and they were like CD writers, and that was a big deal, and especially on USB because all the computers were coming with USB at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were selling a shitload of software through Sony, and so part of that was I had to go to Florida and train the Sony tech support people.
Mm-hmm.
So I flew in. I stayed at the Pink Shell Beach Resort, right?
Okay.
And then someone from Sony came and picked me up and took me to the Sony facility.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had 4 or 5 classes throughout the day that I had to teach the same, just go over the software and teach people how to use it. And then after that, and that was my only day at Sony. And then after that, the guy that picked me up in the morning was like, "Hey, I'm going to take you out to dinner." And I'm okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not used to this stuff, man. You know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, oh, we'll just go to Red Lobster or some shit.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, oh no, we're going to the Sanibel Steakhouse. And I'm like, wait, what?
The who?
Yeah, and he's like, oh no, trust me, you're gonna like it. You like steak, right? And I'm like, fuck yeah. So I had a lobster stuffed fillet.
Oh wow.
That had some sort of sauce on it. Oh my god, dude, it was one of the best steaks I ever ate.
Yeah.
And I think the dinner for the two of us was $300. This is back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it was $300 for the two of us, and I was like, fuck. Wow. Yeah, because I've been on trips before by myself where I didn't get a stipend from the company or any kind of money, or I didn't have a credit card, so I couldn't just charge shit. So I'm using my out-of-pocket money to pay for stuff.
Right.
And I didn't have any fucking money.
Right.
So there were times where I would be in Vegas and stressing about how much is the cab ride to the fucking airport.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And one time I walked all the way from, I think I stayed at Circus one time, and walked all the way with towing my luggage down the strip to the Mirage to get a cheap bus to the airport so I could get out of town. Because I didn't have any money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. To front it. Yeah.
Yeah. So all those big time things where people are dressed in schnazzy and fucking the drinks are flowing and the food's good, that was not my scene at all. I was out of place, So I get that. I get that a lot.
Then we got cool AJA Vegas parties. Hashtag I love you, Dave.
Those were fun. Those were a lot of fun. I had good times at those.
Yeah.
I
had a good time with those.
I know. I actually was lucky too that one year the AJA party was on our anniversary. And so Shan had flown out so that she could come to Vegas, and she stayed in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up being able to go out to dinner with a bunch of folks from work, and then we went to the strip and did a bunch of stuff and rode on the thing, did all this, and it was a blast. And then we went to the party, and she had a blast. You know what I mean? Man, those were good. And that year the party was at the MGM Grand, whatever their club is there. It's just so much fun. So much fun.
Are you guys still doing that? Because you guys have something every once in a while at the fairgrounds, don't you? Work? You have a corporate party? Or
that was the AJA picnic?
Yes.
And
that's what it was.
Since COVID hit, we haven't had one of those. So we used to have
it's been 4 years then.
I know, yeah.
Wow.
We used to have a Christmas party.
Right. Okay.
And the Christmas parties were too big. They couldn't find a place to have the Christmas party.
Mm-hmm.
So one year, the Stone House in Nevada City?
Yes.
We had it there one year.
Mm-hmm.
That housed the entire company at one point. And, that place isn't that big. And then one year was like at the Lions Club or something in Nevada City.
Okay.
And then one year, like I think it was the last year for the Christmas party it was at the new Holiday Inn that's right downtown Grass Valley.
Yeah.
They have a big, conference hall or whatever.
Right.
And we outgrew that. And so they decided instead of doing a Christmas party to do the picnic, which was it's always the same weekend as the Celtic Festival. And so you would get tickets to the Celtic Festival, and so you'd have the party where they would have catered dinner or whatever and drinks, and they would give out prizes and whatever, and there'd be music. And then after that, everyone goes to the Celtic Festival and just hangs out and does shit. And it was fun.
Right.
But we haven't done it. We haven't had any Christmas parties. We haven't had any picnics or anything. So I'm kind of wondering about that. So,
right, because COVID's gone.
Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like 3.5 years ago.
Roughly what time of the year does that come up? Or would it have?
I want to say September, October, somewhere right in there.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was always a good time. We always enjoy, I'm not into Celtic music, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so just walking around, it's a little bit nerdy because you got the people dressed up in their shit and they're fucking having sword fights and, but there's a lot of stuff that's fun for the girls, like all the little vendors selling stuff and getting their hair done. And then they do a bunch of stuff like that. And we'd always get ice cream at the, whatever the name of the ice cream place is that's popular up there, that has the ice cream truck. And, you just walk around and chat with people as you're cruising around. Yeah. And then, all right, we're done. We're out, And it was fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, but we just haven't done it. So what's up with that, Dave?
Come on, Dave.
No, I'm sure there's, they're probably worried about spreading stuff or
Well, yeah, all those things are now net news that you have to take into account, whether it's density and however many employees you guys have now, and whether or not you can facilitate an event that allows everyone an opportunity to be there that would want to,
right? And
the space.
And they changed over time because, I remember the first party that I went to was like full open bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, baby.
And then fast forward to the picnics, and it was like they just had beer and wine,
Oh.
So that's fine.
Sure.
But that's just how different. The bigger you get, the more problems you're trying to avoid,
Just, if you have another one, Dave, just drive the RV up where inside that you will have the open bar. I'll show up.
Yeah.
It's good.
But man, those NAB parties were fun.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. What was it, at the Encore? Is that what
I don't fucking remember.
It was the big, the Wynn. It was at the Wynn.
Yes.
And man, that club was gorgeous with the water outside and all that stuff. Those are places I would never, ever go on my own for any reason whatsoever. I wouldn't even think twice about trying to go in.
They had the fancy dude in the bathroom to hand you a towel.
Yeah.
Talk to you in a British accent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, jolly good to you, motherfucker.
I remember, I'm not going to say how much, but I remember going to one of those parties, getting pretty shittered, and hanging out with a bunch of people after the party was over. So it's like literally they're kicking people out and the lights are coming on. But I'm an employee of the company, so I was just like hanging around with everybody else and watching the manager of the club give the bill to
someone who had to sign.
Someone who was paying the bill and seeing how much that bill was for and going, what?
Well,
like, what the shit?
There's a reason we're not going to be doing these anymore.
It became a diminishing returns kind of situation.
Sure, absolutely.
You throw this big thing, and like it was like the ticket to get was that party.
Sure,
and then you've sort of diluted your customer base or whatever with whoever the fuck made it in.
Right.
So I think there was some of that too.
Sure.
So they just decided to say see ya to it.
Well, at some point, you've got to, as a business person and a business owner, you're like, to what end am I generating net new business or increased business opportunities from this versus just funding stupidity?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing that your employees get to take part in the celebration of a good event and presenting the products. Like, that would be one thing. But if you're also going to the next tier because you're attempting to solicit potential clients, and that's not actually paying dividends, well, then, you start to, why would you not walk the event back?
And, and it seems like looking back over the years of NAB, there was always some company that had a big party that people were like, oh, did you get tickets to the blah, blah party? And you're like, no, or whatever.
Right.
And those companies may still be around, but they definitely stopped doing it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like no one
was really doing that anymore?
Not that I'm aware of. I think we were one of the few.
Really?
Yeah. But it used to be more prevalent back when there was high-tech money.
Sure. Yeah.
Everything's a lot more competitive now.
Like everyone who has an Oscars after party kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Black Magic had one and Adobe would have one, that kind of thing. They used to be like something like that.
There were big companies that would, I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but there were big companies.
Multiple vendors would have a big shenanigan.
A big party.
Yeah.
I remember back at Macworld, like Apple had a big party, and it was on the top floor of the Moscone Center. And they had all kinds of shit going on up there. It was really cool. And we actually got to go. It was one of the few times I got to go to one of those big parties. So you just had different companies would do it over the years. But, it's like, I don't think it's sustainable. Apple doesn't even do trade shows anymore, let alone the parties. So
yeah, they just do their little
They do it all
presentation from their Cupertino donut.
They do that, and then also because they reach more people in their stores than they ever could in a trade show. They're like, well, we've got stores all over the world.
Put it in the store.
People can just come into the store. We don't have to have a trade show. They're Apple. They don't have to do it.
Yeah, we do what I want.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You have to buy our product anyway. Well, we are increasing rates, by the way. We didn't light you on fire.
Yeah.
You should be happy. Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Right.
We're at time.
All right. I don't know what to say about that.
You should return the cart.
Yeah. Wash your hands.
Wash your ass.
Check your oil, Tony, especially if you're driving all the way to Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Register
Mover.
to vote. Did he move?
Yeah.
It's over?
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I told you about that.
You did, like 3 or shows, because then we rambled on like this at the tail end.
At the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Register to vote. Stay up to date on your shots.
Pick up a broom.
Do the kindness.
Yeah, and thanks for listening.
We'll check. Fucking
Fakashka.
We'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening.